All right, so we are going to go over some of these concepts of restorative yoga and how restorative yoga can be impactful, how we can set up some of these positions and postures, and hopefully help our clients and patients have a more relaxed state, help them sleep better, open up the body, help them loosen up safely, calmly, toning the vagus nerve, so kidneys, gallbladders, liver, spleens, everything breaks down at a more efficient, more effective rate and level. So we're going to dive into some of these postures. How I like to start class is often our sit butterfly position. As the students are getting prepared for class, they're often join me. Or welcome everyone, or thank them for being here, or invite them to get into a more yoga meditative type state so we can begin to practice, or remind them of not necessarily the rules. The rules for me usually are there are no rules. As long as you're not hurting someone else, you're free to organically and authentically get into the yoga practice. But I kind of remind them the focus will be on the breath. When we're doing these postures, we're going to focus on deep breathing. We're going to go limp into the poses, allow for the props to help us, to catch us, to adjust us. And we will focus on the deep breathing to help get that fresh blood and oxygen to flow through, often it's called chi, to these hard to reach regions, whether it's in the lumbar spine, thoracic cervical spine, whether it's going to be in the hips, relaxing the psoas muscles so the hips will go down and the lumbar spine will go down. If we're going to open up the arms, if we're going to twist and turn the neck and try to get oxygen flow here to loosen up your neck, your shoulder blades, your acromial process, whatever the area is, we're going to try to breathe into that area. Another great thing about the breathing is it almost forces you into a meditative state. Often, if you're dealing with patients or those with chronic pain or those that have pain flares, if they could focus on wiggling their right toe or their left toe and focus on that, often for them, that will help them to remember to breathe and focus the attention on the area they just moved rather than their pain. So if they're having a pain flare, the pain's all right here, focus on your left toe. Take a breath in, breath out, wiggle your left toe. And you can see how that works. So we're going to go ahead and begin the session. I'm going to start by setting up a posture for butterfly position. We're going to use the big bolster. If you can't use the big bolster, I want to show you now what I like to do. I'll take these half bolsters here, and I'll take a blanket, and often I'll wrap the blanket around them. But when you wrap the blanket around them, you do have a big bolster like this. So we're going to set this up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around and I'm going to get the yoga blocks. And I used to teach restorative classes with just one yoga block per patient, which wasn't enough for me. So I made it a point to buy more blocks and more equipment. Eventually, where I worked, there was so much concern about me bringing so much equipment in, and there was concerns I was going to drop my back, that they just gave me a blank check and asked me to buy anything I needed. So I went out and I got full-size bolsters and blankets, additional yoga blocks, half bolsters. Those were the starting foundation for me. So we're going to go ahead and take a few of these blocks. I have 4. That should be plenty for a restorative session, particularly if I'm doing it on my own myself. I'm going to take a block right here and a block right here. You see how we have it? Stack one laying flat, the other laying up, just like this. Now I'm going to take the bolster, I'm going to plant it just like this. Understand? Now, for some people, I want you to keep in mind this spot right here, this is where their seat's going to go. You're going to see me sit there in a second. This spot can be a lot. So depending on the person, I might put some cushion here. This might be too much. I might make it thinner, whatever the case may be. Also, for some people, they might need extra cushion on their back, so I might throw a blanket over just like that as well. This is more than enough for me. So I'm going to come here just like this. I'm going to take my seat. I'm going to lay back until I'm in position. Now my legs are out. I'm comfortable. My arms are out just like this. Because I have the props here, I'm going to open up the arms to relax a little bit more. So this half bolster is going to come here and just let my right arm go down limp. My left arm, same thing. It's going to come out right here. I'm going to allow that to go limp. Now, the even in my shoulders just sank into this bolster right here as I took the gravity off my my right and my left arm. So now we're in position. It's been a couple minutes. It's very normal to continue to get into position and get into the pose for a good 2-3 minutes. That's why we hold these poses anywhere from 5 minutes to 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and prop up my knee right here. And this time I'll use blocks. You could use bolsters. If you want, you could just take a bolster and plant it right under your knee like this. Now this is really helpful. It feels comfortable, but it might be too high for some people. These blocks are relatively thin, so I'm going to take a block, put it right here, and that was really relaxing for me. This is a great way to help the hips loosen, particularly if someone's having trouble, and also the psoas muscles right here are going to loosen. When those psoas muscles loosen, your lumbar spine will go and return and start to loosen as well. Up your thoracic spine and your cervical spine. Then up at your shoulder blades, you're going to notice your shoulders and arms are also going to begin loosening as well. The fermion process connects your shoulder blades in your scapula to your clavicle. So when you lift your shoulders, your clavicle and your scapula are going to move together. So if we start relaxing everything, starting with our psoas muscles and just breathe and let the hips go, everything else up top will gradually start to go. You'll run into some people where this isn't enough. So that's where, and I learned this from one of my patients. It's in some of the books. So you'll see this in some of the books that we have. You can do something like this too. Now this might be really good for someone that's pregnant. Now this is nice. This is nice. It took my legs off, my feet off the ground. The problem with this for some people is why it's comfortable. Their seat might be sinking too low, particularly if they're pregnant or if they've just had a major trauma or injury. So I'm going to come back. Let me roll off. And again, you might have to help them with all this. I'm going to take a blanket right here. I'm going to fold it just like this. Make sure it's comfortable. It might be too high, so I might need to take it half a layer down. For me, it will be okay for the sake of the demonstration. I'm going to come back into position. There we go. Very comfortable here. Great. Bolster, great. And now we are fully in position. This is probably the most comfortable I've been in a yoga posture in a long time. We're not completely on the concrete because I have to tie yoga mat. This mat serving as a prop as well. It takes a lot of pressure off the ground. The thicker the mat, usually the better it is for taking pressure off. We used to have our patients with 2 really thick mats, probably 2-inch mats, and the rest had 1/8-inch mats. And I would see them reluctant to take the thick ones, but they all wanted it, and they would just look at each other and say, you know what, you take it today. Why don't you take it today? And it drove me crazy. So I talked to the higher ups and we eventually ordered enough mats for every person. And it took a little convincing. The mats they were buying were about $3 and the mats that they needed were about $75. But when I explained to them the difference and we got those mats for everyone, the results were tremendous. They were able to get in position sooner with far more comfort and breathe. And then that transition into better results as they did other activities like physical therapy, like functional training, like any other movement they did, jogging, quality of life at home, simply because we gave them an extra prop to take some of the pressure off their joints and body. So I want you to keep that in mind best you can, that these props are helpful. They are a friend. They help us not to cheat, which a lot of people feel using props is a way to cheat to get in position. They help us for a couple of different ways. Number one, they make it fair. If someone can't get in position, but they need to breathe and get oxygen to that region, they need something to help them get there. Now, someone that might be a dancer or have an athletic background, they might be able to get there a little bit more naturally. So what we need to do is even the playing field so that we can also get there relatively naturally and breathe the oxygen so it can get to that region. So that's one thing. Another thing is, even if you can do these postures, I can do all these postures without the props. That's not what we're doing for restorative yoga. With restorative, we want to use the props because we're going to go limp into the postures. So I hope you understand the difference. With yin yoga, hatha yoga, you might want to engage and constrict the muscles a little bit more. With restorative, you're going to go very limp and you're going to relax and you're going to breathe and you're going to go into these postures and almost fall asleep like you're in a yoga nidra. That way, your vagus nerve can kick in and start to really stimulate the ATP healing effect, rejuvenate your cells, rejuvenate the blood flow, and really force the oxygen to these regions without restriction of the blood capillaries that are being traumatized or too engaged. All that's at rest now. So it's almost like you're asleep. So we've been in position for about 5 minutes. When I'm in position, usually I take an inhale in, exhale out. Exhales longer than inhales if you can. It's okay to switch them as well. But usually you're going to breathe in. I breathe in through the mouth as if I'm drinking through a thick, thick straw. The straw's a ½ inch thick, like a thick milkshake from a 50s diner. Exhale. Relax your shoulders. I pretend I have a donut, a glazed donut in my hand, a round donut. The whole of the donut is about an inch, ½ inch thick, and I blow it out as an O through the donut hole. Once more, inhale. Breathe in through the straw. Singers breathe this way. This is a way to engage your diaphragm. Relaxing your toes, relaxing your knees. Exhale. Blow it out through your donut, whatever your visualization is, through the donut hole. And you are doing restorative yoga. You're also doing meditation. This is a breath-based meditation. And this is the way I like to guide those into these postures to breathe with these meditations. Eyes can be open, eyes can be closed. Either is fine. When you're ready, inhale. Again, breathe in through the straw. Relax your shoulders, relax your fingertips. Exhale. A round breath out through the hole. O shape through the donut hole. That's how I breathe for restorative yoga. We're going to try a couple more engaging breaths as we stay in position before we move to the next posture. Go ahead and inhale. We're going to inhale for 2. 1 continual breath. Inhale 1, 2. Exhale 1, 2. Continual breath. Breathe out 3, 4. We're going to do it again. We're going to breathe in for 2, exhale for 4. Do the best you can. This is something that's a little bit more advanced. We're going to continue to do this more and more as we go. This is breath training. This is also meditation as we meditate on the breath, focusing your energy on the breath, but calmly. Inhale in. 1, 2. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to switch positions. We're going to come out of this. We're going to move on to hero position. And I'm going to show you multiple ways to do that. But first, we're going to slowly get out of here any way you want. After we get out, take a minute. Take a minute to really focus, let your body understand what happened, and then we'll move on to the next posture. So inhale. We like to leave or go into a pose. Exhale. On a breath in or a breath out. That helps us prevent injury. We want to move on a breath. Inhale it again. And exhale. I'm going to rotate to my right. I'm going to roll over. And I'm just going to sit for a second, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. We're going to think about what happened. Now we move on to the next breath. The next posture. Now there's multiple ways to do hero pose. Let me show you first, best I can, on the mat. Now again, there's cushion on the mat, so this is far easier. But normally sitting in hero pose is hard for me. I don't like it. I have compression in my ankles. It makes it very hard for me. That's common for a lot of people. So, as we talked about, to make this pose fair, my brother, for example, he can live in hero pose. It means nothing to him. For me, I can't. It's painful. I don't want to be in pain when I'm doing this, particularly in restorative yoga, where I'm trying to get my nervous system to be as calm as possible. Pain's going to be in the way of that. So what do I need to do? I need to make it fair so I don't feel pain. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bolster. I'm going to go with a half bolster this time. I'm going to slide it right under my legs, under my ankles, just like this. That is far better. Feels much, much better for me. But I'm not done. I'm going to take a little bit more cushion. Some people might use a block. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use a full bolster for this. I'm going to take this right here. Put it there. Now that feels good, but it still feels a little bit more pressure under my ankle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blanket. I'm going to wrap it just like that around this bolster. Here we go. I'm going to put my ankles just like that. A little bit better. Put a block between my legs, another block between my legs. I might even go one more, depending on how comfortable it is. Just like that. And now I'm going to return this one right under my ankles, just like this. Now this is comfortable. Now I can be here and live here all day. You look at my body, watch my limbs, look at my lower limbs and my lower extremities. I'm in position, but I'm in no pain. I can stay here all day. Now with hero pose, you can take the arms up. This is great if you have a headache. This is great relief for migraines. You can look up at the fingertips. We call that dristi. That is the point of focus. The point of focus is the fingertips. You don't necessarily have to look there, but you want to engage and pretend you're looking there. And then breathe. Deep breath in. Again, through the thick straw. Exhale. Open mouth, round, blow out the O. I'm going to drop the arms so I can give a demonstration. Inhale in. Exhale. Now this all might be still not the best setup for someone. It might be too much. It might just be too little. So I'm going to do another similar setup. We're going to take this big bolster first. I'm going to come up. Inhale, exhale. Move the bolster out of the way. I'm going to take this block. And I don't know if I want to use the bolster under my ankles. The bolster is a little stronger than what maybe I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the bolster completely. And this might be actually more beneficial for some of your students or patients. I'm going to go with one blanket first under my ankles. That's actually pretty good. And I'm going to go back to this. We'll see. Not bad. Not bad. But I can do better with this. I have the props. And again, we're going to be here 5 minutes. And if you do want to go with 2 to 3 minutes in specific poses, I'm not going to stop you from that. That's fine. It's not a problem. It really isn't. That said, we do want to aim for closer to 5 minutes and beyond for restorative yoga. Pretty often in a 60-minute class, you might have 5 to 6 postures, but it's more than fine to be in passing for specific poses. So I'm going to put this here, just like this. I'm going to take this bolster. Now this is much better. This is really comfortable. I got the blankets to help my ankles. I have this bolster where I can sit on, give myself a little bit of cushion. And I might take a block to help me separate my legs, keep my knees separated. And this is good.